In this video, you will learn when derived state in React is good choice and when it's not good idea to use it. Now let's see when derived state is good to use. This is search example application. Basically, we have 3 users in the list. We have the search input. You type something and wait 1 second, and then filtering through this list will happen. From the code perspective, we have the all users list. We have the filter users function, which takes the list of the users and the query that we type, and then filter users based on the query. Then we have the search query state and filtered users derived state with the user fact, which runs every time when search query changes. Let's make example how this works. Basically, if we have here search input and we type, let's say ALI, first what will happen, search query A. It will trigger use effect. So we know that use effect will be called because search query becomes A, and 1 second will start ticking, but we had another state update. Let's put here 2. So now search query becoming AL and trigger a new use effect. Now before new use effect runs, previous one will execute this cleanup function. So what that means, it will clear timeout because 1 second didn't pass, and this will never be executed. And then second use effect start running, and here 1 second start ticking, and because we have another state update, which is now ALI, and that triggers third use effect. The second use effect will call the cleanup function, which will clear timeout because 1 second didn't pass, so this code will never be executed. And then we have third use effect running, and since 1 second passed, we stop typing here. Then we have the execution of the filtering. So basically, on every re-render, we don't filter users unless they stop typing for 1 second, and this way we prevent executing some expensive calculations on every re-render, and that way we just save performance. Let's take a look at an example where derived state is wrong to use. Here we have a simple shopping cart application which has a list of items in the cart and the total price of all items. We can add a new item, we can remove items, and total price is updated every time. Now, from the code perspective, we have 2 pieces of the state. First one is items, another one is total price. And we have a use effect which we use to calculate total price every time when items is changed. Why this is wrong? The first problem is we have 2 re-renders for every added item. This could be simply done just with 1 render. So if we come here and clean console and add a new item, we can see that we have 2 re-renders. And basically here in the code you can see that I'm using the console count to count how many times component is re-rendered. So for every added or removed item, we have 2 re-renders. The reason why we have 2 re-renders for every item change, like adding new item or removing item, is because we calculate the total price after item's state is updated, which means when state update happens, we know that our component is re-rendered. In the end, DOM will be updated. Then use effect will be executed because state is changed, and we have new state calculation and update, and then we go again, throw component render, and in the end, the DOM update. The second problem is code complexity is too big for this simple calculation. Now, let's optimize this solution. If we remove the use effect, and if we remove the total price state, and here we can calculate directly total price as constant inside of the component. If we save this and go and test this approach, let's remove console, add a new item, we can see one render, add another one, another render. So we have just one render instead of two. Plus, the code complexity is much simpler. We don't need to handle synchronization between total price and items states on every item's change. We removed that unnecessary use effect and use state, and now our code works better with much less magic. The key takeaway is the rule to remember when to use derived state. Use derived state when you need to override React normal rendering cycle, like we did with the search and filter. React would execute the filtering on every search query change, and what we did, we say, hey, wait 1 second first. Then if user types again, we cancel the previous filtering, and if user stops typing, then we allow filtering to happen. So this way we override React's normal rendering process in order to save performance.